Very good morning and Assalamualaikum for all the audience and panelists. It is a great day today to discuss and debate about sex education among children. I am Muhammad Faisal bin Abdul Ghani will be your moderator for this forum. In recent years, sex among the young people has become a critical problem in this society. The situation is become uncontrollable and may jeopardize the young generation. Therefore, it becomes the responsibility of school as well as parents to educate children about sex education early at their young age. Our first panel, as you can see, a very handsome man, Fakrul Hazwan bin Fazluddin, representative from Chief Information Officer, Ministry of Communication and Media Malaysia. How are you, sir?
I am fine.
Okay, second, a very independent woman, Justin Nadia binti Isham, from representative from Social Psychologist of Sunway College. How are you, Miss Jasmine?
I'm fine, Faisal.
Thirdly, a very beautiful woman, Nur Azlin binti Saini, representative from Social Psychologist of University Utara Malaysia. How are you, Miss Nur Azlin? Okay. Fourthly, Sharina binti Ahmad, representative from activists of NGO of National Human Rights Society. How are you, Miss Sharina?
Alhamdulillah, fine, thank you.
And last but not least, Mas Rifa Diana binti Rosli, representative from committee member of non-profitable agency United Nations Children Fund Malaysia. How are you, Miss Masrifa?
Alhamdulillah, I'm fine, thank you.
Uh, Before we start, I would like to share further about the definition of sex education. Sex education is the provision of information about bodily development, sex, sexuality, and relationship, along with skill building to help young people communicate about and make informed decisions regarding sex and their sexual health. Sex education should occur throughout a student grade level with information appropriate to students. Development and cultural background, it should include information about puberty and reproduction, abstinence, contraception and condom, relationship, sexual violence prevention, body image, gender identity and sexual orientation. In addition, it should be taught by trained teachers. The question is whether sex education is important for children. Okay. Fakrul, in your opinion, what do you think sex education is important for children?
Hi, Assalamualaikum to everyone. My name is Fakrul and I am CIO at the Ministry of Communication. Okay, first and foremost, I would like to thank to our moderator Faisal for his excellent introduction and for inviting me to share my thoughts on sex education in school curriculum in this forum. Okay, sex education, which is the subject of debate among various experts, which has been discussed by various experts as to whether sex education should be part of curriculum in schools. Nowadays, due to rapid development of information, there has been increased demand in provide sex education in schools. The youth are usually very eager to learn all the new things that came to them, especially abstract things like sex. There are many who support the move, while there are some more who are against. While many believe that the school students are in the right position to offer the sex education, there are others who say that school students are not mature enough to understand the implication of the subject. There is nothing simple about teaching children about it. In this pre-adolescence time, pregnancy between teenagers and sexually transmitted disease, youngsters and adolescents require much more one-time chat about the creatures. Because of the country religion conservatism, sex education remains illegal in Malaysia, where the majority of the population is Muslim. Until today, our teenagers are only told to practice abstinence religiously. However, between 2017 and 2022, there were more than 40,000 teens pregnancy, with 35% of those being unmarried. This can be inferred when the pregnancy unwanted the babies are dumped in trash can, toilet, or drains. Malaysia also has the highest rate of the baby dumping sorts in South Asia, with an average of 100 babies dumped each year. As a result, it led to my first point, Faisal, is that this the partly due to inadequate of sex education. It has also been shown that teaching sex education can help scale down on teen pregnancy and other sexually transmitted disease. There was a research done in 22 by a researcher from University of Washington. The study on heterosexual teens aged between 15 to 16 years old found that 25% of teenagers were taught abstinence-only education. 9% received no education at all, and 66% were taught sex education with mention of birth control. From this, they will conclude that the teenagers who receive sexual education were 60% less likely to become pregnant or get another person pregnant than those who did not receive any sexual education. While teenagers, those who receive only abstinence education, were 30% less likely to become pregnant than those who receive no sexual education. If you all can see, sex education is also can help to reduce the number of children who are sexually abused and give them a way out of the situation. My second point is that the other goal of sex education is to help people to learn the skill that will help them to protect themselves from sexual abuse, sexual exploitation, and unwanted pregnancy. And also with a proper channel of education of teaching, it is important because with that information, teenagers can understand bullying, stereotyping, abuse that negatively influence in our relationship. Finding out about young people already know about sexuality, adding that they already know, and correcting any misinformation they may have about sexuality are all components in sexual education. When they have a basic understanding of education, they will be able to recognize which of their friends are exploiting their generosity in order to get something from them. When our kids do not have a proper education about sex, they do not know that people can take advantage of them sexually. The process of acquiring information and forming attitudes and belief about sex, sexual identity, relationships, and intimacy. Sex education is also about developing young people skills so that they can make informed choice about their behavior and feel confident and competent about acting on this choice. I always believe that responsibility of educating children on sex doesn't just fall on the shoulder of teacher and the school system. Parents too play a key role and need to step up on the plate. Although sex education is undeniably imperative, apparent social barriers still hinder its implementation. Therefore, Malaysians have to work together to foster an acceptance of sex education in society and implement a suitable curriculum based on professional verified recommendation. Only then our country progress toward a sexually safer and healthier nation. Thank you, Faisal. That's only my point.
Thank you, Fakhrul. That was really great idea, and I agree that indeed education can help to discourage sex and teenagers can make wise decisions with the right sex education. Jocelyn, regarding the importance of sex education among children, do you agree with Fakhrul?
First of all, thank you so much, Faisal, for being moderator for today and giving me opportunity to share my opinion with all the speakers and the audience also. So before I start, I would like to answer your question, which is I am agree with Fakhrul points because which is we can have 60 less likely teenagers to become pregnant, and also we can help to lower the rate when they receive a sexual education. So let me share my first point, which is implementing sex education from the beginning education. We may observe that sex education in school is still at a limited level by looking at how integrated into the curriculum. For example, in the science education, where sperm and ovum are mentioned. In addition to that subject, pendidikan kesihatan jasmani teach also about these things. But as I mentioned earlier, this thing has already started, but it's still in the early stage. Demanding more attention to teach sex education is more comprehensive and also implementive manner. like the education minister at the time, Datuk Sri Matzir said that there was already a plan in place for future sex education, and he said that they have already have a specialist to discuss the matter and determine whether it was appropriate to implement the module in preschool. So referring to his statement, demonstrate how Malaysia has advanced in response to this issue by suggesting that sex education must be introduced at an early stages, starting in school. So yeah, I think I'm so agree with Datuk Sri Matzir. And then also for next point, if we can relate that from there we can avoid inappropriate of unhealthy sexual behavior among young people. So the majority of teenagers are sexually curious. However, by acting in a way that should never be counter how it should be, the majority of them also misrepresent the genuine meaning. This result is extremely grave criminal activity. If they discovered, they are aware that they will be punished. They might be charged, and the police might be even detain them and make an arrest at school. In addition, kids might be detained and excused and being a criminal or face and non-legal consequences that would be terrible to them, the offended party, their family and friends. Consequently, sex education is crucial to preventing this inappropriate behavior. So the issue, according to Lok Yim Peng, which is Secretary General of the National Union of the Teaching Profession, is that many kids are fascinated about sex and experiment with what they see in online. So without considering the repercussions, and also given the rise in the teenagers' pregnancy, several non-governmental groups, which is NGOs, argue that sex education should be implemented immediately in school. So that's all is my point towards sex education can be introduced in the school curriculum. So I hope that everyone can open their eyes when I already mentioned all the good things when we have sex school in school. I mean sex education in school. So thank you once again, and I pass to the moderator.
Okay, thank you, Jaslyn. We cannot deny that there are many advantages and disadvantages to expose sex education to children, and the government may look deeper into the issue to ensure that the sex education given to the children will not be misused by children or young people themselves. Ms. Nur Azlin, in your opinion, do you think sex education can benefit the children?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Moderator, for inviting me. My name is Nur Azim binti Sani. As we know, sexual education being a controversial topic in Malaysia has caused many prolonged debates and discussion whether or not it should be implemented in our country. This discussion have been around since the year 1980, according to Bernama Library and Infolink Service. Some of the parents cannot trust school to provide sex education when they cannot even keep their institution safe. It should be left up to parents to teach their kids itself. For my opinion, first is teacher face many challenges in delivering sexuality education. Some of teacher not comfortable discussing sexuality openly in classroom as they did not grow up talking about it. They also afraid of being misquoted or misinterpreted or the statement leading to unintended negative consequence. That's all from me. Thank you.
Okay. Maksudnya
Okay.
okay kot, Jas?
Okay, good.
Kita sambung yang tadi lah. Nanti kita orang edit. So rasanya tak ada kot. Ada apa lagi tak? Nanti kita orang edit, lepas tu kita orang submit before 20 lah.
Okay, Miss Sharina, why you disagree that sex education cannot be taught in curriculum?
Okay, thank you to our Mr. Moderator, Pada Faisal. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Sharina binti Ahmad, representative from activists of NGO from National Human Rights Society. Okay, thank you to the organizer for inviting me to talk in our forum for today. Okay, back to your question, Pada Faisal. Why I am disagree that the sex education cannot be taught in curriculum. Okay, sex education should not be introduced in the school curriculum. The reason why our team, NGO, as an NGO, against this topic, it is because of sexuality is a very sensitive topic to discuss it openly, especially an early age of 7 until 12 years old. Okay, we refer to an article the Staff Online on 8 March 2010 stated that when it comes to sex education, society often immaturely or traditionally equates it to encouraging sexual experimentation, which is the greatest misuse and fallacy of all times. Okay. Okay. We know in our traditional Malay is taboo. Okay. So the second reason, teacher is not well equipped to teach sexuality education. Is fake. Lack of trained teachers or educators equipped and parents with accessible sexuality education module, and the teachers do not feel comfortable to discuss sexuality openly in the classroom as they did not grow up to talking about it. Okay, thus they are reluctant. Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, and to our moderator and to all the panels, in Islam to discuss it openly, it is not appropriate, especially for students early and 6 to 11 years old, especially when the topic is about how to use the condoms and contraceptive pills to avoid pregnancy. Okay, we first to an article from the Star Online on 8 March 2010 stated that the education in Islam, like parents should have a separate sleeping place for their children when they reach the age of 7, and that women should be properly covered. Introducing sex education in schools would be like teaching teens how to steal property. Okay, for my last point on discrimination with sexuality education, many from us are aware that education aims for sex abstinence and has covered topics on the anatomy, my last is disagreement regarding to the syllabus of sexuality education. Many are aware the current sexuality education aims for sex abstinence and has covered topics on the anatomy of reproductive organs, physical aspects related to puberty and prevention of STDs or AIDS. However, a few believe that the syllabus is still not quite complete, thus require further review. Okay, one of the important subjects lacking is a comprehensive explanation on sexual intercourse, where, when, and with whom to have sexual intercourse, preventive measures of early sexual debut, preventive measure for pregnancy, and amplification of sexual intercourse. Okay, the syllabus in school only scratch the surface, as it focuses on the scientific terms of reproduction, and students are not given proper education on intercourse and its effect. Okay, according to the UNESCO on the journey towards comprehensive sexuality report 2021 stated that the data on prohibition education for curriculum use is mandatory use for secondary primary. However, the target is only 75%. Only 100 from 100% of all, and for the data monitoring and evaluation, there is no supervision or revision on that at all. Okay, so maybe Malaysia needs to refocus more about how to develop a new curriculum to the better future to our kids. Okay, thank you to our moderator again and for giving this opportunity. Back to you, Mr. Faisal.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Azlin and Sharina for the opinion. This forum is becoming more interesting. Education can help to discourage sex and teenagers can make wise decisions with the right sex education. Ms. Masrifah, if sex education is provided at public school, do you agree that that will effective to the children?
All right. Thank you, Mr. Faizal, as our moderator for this morning. Hi, Assalamualaikum, and have a very good day, everyone. I am Masrifah Diana binti Rosli, representative as committee members of non-profitable agency United Nations Children's Fund Malaysia. For the question that do you agree this will effective to the children? Of course, no. I disagree because there are a few things need to know, such as impact when applied as sex education and also for and against. What is the impact when sex education introduced in the school curriculum later? Okay, the spread HIV, unwanted pregnancy, unsafe abortion, and for the pros and cons such as kids do not usually get the right amount of sex information and the school is the only place that can help them give enlightenment about education sex. Okay, parents usually feel awkward talking about it to youngsters. Long way topic about the body's human reproductive system, sexually transmitted disease, birth contraceptive, and also pregnancy prevention techniques. Sexual education also can provide sexual abuse, exploitation, and also unwanted pregnancy. Not all students are open-minded about sex purpose. Increasing number of sexuality problems among nowadays youth. Increasing in rape cases, abandoning babies, unwanted pregnancy, unsafe abortion, and also sexual transmitted disease, STDs. Risk of having multiple sexual partners and also difficult to abstain away of contraceptive methods such as condom use. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Masrifah. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the end of this forum. Let us think for a while. Sex education can benefit the young generation, but we may need to take into account several factors so that the plan to give early sex education to children will be effective. As for the parents, we need to give a good exposure to our children and for teachers. Effective and a well lesson plan will lead the success on the sex education. Till then, a very good day and thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the end of the forum. Let us think a while to what should sex education be introduced in the school curriculum. But we may need to take into account several factors so that the plan to give early sex education to children will be effective. As for the parents, we need to give a good exposure to our children and for teacher. Effective and well lesson plan will lead to the success on the sex education. Till then, a very good day and thank you.